PTE Speaking Read Aloud is the first task of the speaking section and for the entire PTE test. In my views, this question is probably one of the easiest among the speaking tasks to score high if you plan and execute it properly. To learn how to crack this task, join me, your PTE specialist at Edutrainex, in learning those key elements which will help you to understand what is expected of you and how to attempt it to get to a high score. If you think you are weak in some of the areas that I am going to discuss here, please reach out to me directly and I'll help you. After watching this video, it is important that you also practice some questions. So please continue watching and keep learning. Overview and facts. For the read aloud task, you are shown a complex text which is up to 60 words in length on the screen, and you need to read it aloud clearly and naturally. You are given 6 to 7 read aloud questions in the exam. This question assesses your ability to read a given text on an academic topic and speak as a native speaker. You are given 40 seconds to prepare and 40 seconds to speak. A few things to note here is that you are shown a countdown timer of 30 to 40 seconds before the microphone opens. You will hear a short tone like a beep sound and you need to start speaking immediately. And be careful not to speak before that, otherwise your response will not be recorded. Also, be careful of not pausing for 3 seconds or more, otherwise microphone is cut off and you cannot record anything after that for the question. As mentioned before, this is the first task of the PTE and the speaking section, and it assesses your reading and speaking skills for obvious reasons. Now let me show you how this task looks in the actual test. Layout. So this is how you see the read aloud question in the actual exam. On the top, you see the task prompt, which tells you that you have 40 seconds to prepare and 40 seconds to read aloud. Just below that, you see the audio recorder, which initially shows a countdown timer, and when the recording begins, the timer starts from 0, and it also shows you a progress bar. And at the bottom, you will see the reading passage, which needs to be read clearly and naturally. Once you are done recording your response, you click Next to move to the next question. It is important that you understand the scoring well, as this will make it clear to you what needs to be done. Scoring. Let's now look into how this question is scored in detail. There are 3 areas that you are scored in this task: content, pronunciation, and oral fluency. We will now look into detail of each one of them. So let's start with content. You should speak what is given in the text. You get 40 seconds to prepare well, so don't add, skip, or replace any words. You get points depending on the length of the text and how many mistakes you make. For example, if there are 60 words in the text and you add, replace, or skip one word, so you lose 6% marks straight away for each wrong word. Moving on to pronunciation. The key thing is to be easily understood by English speakers. You must know how to use clearly the sounds of English, mainly consonants, consonant clusters, and vowels. You get points on the basis of how clearly you pronounce the words and if you correctly stressed on the syllables. I will give you a brief introduction of what the consonants, consonant clusters, and vowels are. So consonants are the sound we make, like the kids learn phonics. A, B, K, and so on. Consonant clusters are how 2 consonants in combination sounds like. So for example, B and R sounds like brr. C and H sounds together like ch, ne, sh, and so on. And vowels. Vowels, you must already know, it's a combination of 5 alphabets: A, E, I, O, and U. So the next part of pronunciation includes word stressing. Are you correctly stressing on the syllables within the word or not? A word consists of many syllables, as shown here, and you should know which syllable should be stressed on. By the way, a syllable is a part of the word that is pronounced as a unit. So for example, in research, there are 3 syllables: re, sir, and ch. And you need to stress on re, like this, research, and not research or research. So avoid doing that and stress correctly. Let's look at another example of selection, not selection or selection, and examination, not examination or examination. So listen to the sounds that I made just now and understand where you need to stress within the word. Let me show you a sample reading text where I have intentionally highlighted wrong stressing in uppercase. So try with me and see how it sounds if I stress it wrongly. Obtaining good amount of sleep is important for good health, and studies have shown that increase in serious health problems is because we don't get enough sleep. But scientists have also found that not getting enough sleep decreases the blood count in the body. Now, you must have realized how it sounds absurd. Now let's try the correct one. This time the syllables shown in uppercase should be stressed on to sound perfect. So listen to me carefully. Obtaining good amount of sleep is important for good health, and studies have shown that increase in serious health problems is because we don't get enough sleep. But scientists have also found that not getting enough sleep decreases the blood count in the body. So you can now realize the difference between how you stress wrongly and if you stress it correctly. And lastly, we have oral fluency, which requires you to speak fluently and without any hesitations. In other words, you should speak at a natural rate with good rhythm. You get points for how fluent your speech is. And here are the 3 areas of interest within oral fluency that PTE assesses, of which sentence stress is the first one. I hope you know the difference between the meaningful and grammatical words. Meaningful words are nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and so on, which actually add meaning to the sentence. Whereas the grammatical words are prepositions, articles, pronouns, conjunctions, and so on. To know more about the differences between meaningful and grammatical words, watch our video on Vocabulary Lab. Now let me show you an example. The words underlined should be stressed as they are meaningful. So try with me. The development of easy-to-use statistical software has changed the way statistics is being taught and learned. The second one is pace and pausing, which expects you to speak at a moderate pace and not too fast and not too slow. Additionally, pausing is very critical, and PTE algorithm uses your pausing to mark you on this parameter. Use the punctuation symbols to guide you. Slight pause after comma and long pause after full stop. Let me show you this with an example. As you can see, I have added the oblique character there to show you where you need to pause. If you are a good programmer, you can get good jobs. The third and the final oral fluency parameter is voice modulation, which is also called as intonation or rhythm. What this means is you should know when to go up and when to go down in your rhythm. So listen to this example which I am going to read and you will understand what I am trying to say here. You can see the green arrows indicating where your tone should go up or it should go down. However, with these advancements, students sometimes find statistics to be an arduous task. So you must have heard how the intonation goes up and down. With this, we sum up the scoring for the read aloud task. Excellent. That was a lot of information to grasp. But believe me, it is quite essential for you to know these as they directly impact your speaking score. With knowledge, without knowledge. And remember to use lip movement to speak clearly so that the PTE algorithm has no trouble understanding you. Next, I'll give you some important tips and tricks that will guide you further. Tips and tricks. Tip number 1. Speak at a natural rate, not too fast and not too slow. Just speak with a moderate speed so that the PTE software can understand you easily. Remember, you are not a native speaker, so it is important for you to speak at a decent speed. Tip number 2. Speak without hesitations. No or no and no fumbling, and also no repetitions and no corrections. What this means is that if you do that, the PTE algorithm will have trouble in making sense out of what you are speaking. And also, it shows that your oral fluency is not good enough. If you repeat any words or do corrections, it is again considered a problem. Tip number 3. Modulate your voice with rhythm, ups and downs. So you need to modulate how you speak and speak with full intensity. Tip number 4. Pronounce correctly. As discussed before in the scoring section, you need to pronounce properly, which also covers the next 2 tips of word stress and sentence stress, which means that stressing on the right part of the word and stressing on the right part of the sentence respectively. And the last tip is to speak with a purpose, with full energy. It doesn't mean that you need to speak very fast. It just means that you have to speak purposefully and meaningfully. Now let's look at what you should never do while attempting these questions. Mistake number 1. Never try to hurry up. You get 40 seconds and that is enough for you to speak at a moderate speed. I have seen many students who try to speak faster to cover the entire text, which is wrong. You have 40 seconds, so maintain a moderate speed. Mistake number 2. Don't copy accent of native speakers. Never do that. Copying accent makes it even harder for the PTE algorithm to understand you, as you won't sound natural. So this is just a myth. Mistake number 3. Don't get distracted by others. Many students easily get distracted by others in the examination hall as they might be speaking loudly. So you need to practice your speaking tasks in a noisy environment so you get accustomed with such environments. Mistake number 4. Pausing for 3 or more seconds. If you do that, the microphone will be cut off and no further response will be recorded. So keep that in mind. So your next step will be to practice this task. And this is how you practice the task on the Edutrainex PTE learning platform. The layout here has been designed to make it easier for you to attempt the questions. You see the instructions on the top, followed by the audio recorder to record your response, and the reading text at the bottom, just like the actual exam. On the right hand side, you see many important tips related to the task, and you also have the opportunity to glance at the strategy if you are struggling while practicing. You click on the record button, and once you have recorded your response, you should stop it and then submit your answer. Once you submit, it will be evaluated by one of our PTE experts who will give you a very detailed feedback and report on how your performance was. That will help you to improve a lot. Apart from that, we also display a model answer of how you should have spoken the given text. That was a massive learning. You should now be very confident about the read aloud as well as the scoring criteria for the entire speaking section. If you like this video, you will also like our other videos on different PTE topics, and not only that, the super strategy videos. So don't waste any more time and subscribe to our YouTube channel today for a bright future.